Wi-Fi hast du auch. Exudes colonial charm and has hosted luminaries like Winston Churchill and Nelson Mandela. The sprawling gardens offer a serene escape, and its history whispers tales of elegance and opulence, from its role during wartime to its modern-day luxury. As she is its famous afternoon tea experience. The elegant surroundings and appetites of large wine, even setting to enjoy this time on a traditional wines on a special occasion, is simply a luxurious treat.
Site of Table Mountain, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. The beautiful site of Table Mountain, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, is the Bustour Site of Table Mountain, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. The beautiful site of Table Mountain, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, is the Bustour Site of Table Mountain, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, is the Bustour Site of Table Mountain, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, is the Bustour Site of Table Mountain, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, is the Bustour Site of Table Mountain, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, is the Bustour Site of Table Mountain, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, is the Bustour Site of Table Mountain, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, is the Bustour Site of Table Mountain, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, is the Bustour Site of Table Moun In the shadow of the majestic mountain, history is written. From the Khoisan tribes to the Portuguese explorers who scaled the mountain in 1503, from strolling colonial ladies in the 1800s to record-breaking abseiling daredevils, the mountain is an iconic beacon and becomes an intensely personal symbol to each one who has the privilege of seeing her. For sailors, she is a sign that relief and refuge are at hand. For visitors, she becomes the cover photo on their Facebook pages. For locals, she is a reminder that a harbor is the perfect platform for extraordinaries. Prime Minister Jan Smuts, a farm boy turned field marshal who led South Africa during the World Wars and co-founded the League, holistic living.
Past the Constantia wine region and down to Hout Bay before returning via the Atlantic Sea. In the world. Explore the diverse plant life and don't miss the treetop canopy walk. Next is the Constantia Next Stop, where you can switch to the Purple Wine Tour. This takes you to Groot Constantia, South Africa's oldest commercial wine farm, and to some other notable estates. Then we stop at the World of Birds and Monkey Jungle, Africa's largest bird park, with thousands of birds and playful monkeys. Great fun for families. At the Hout Bay Harbour, hop off at the Mariners Wharf stop for fresh seafood, boat trips to Seal Island, and to stroll through the fishing harbour. Or choose the Sentinel stop and enjoy a gin tasting at the Hout Bay Distillery. Visit Fish on the Rocks, or spend time at the vibrant Bay Harbour Market when open.
On our left, behind these apartments, are the empty fields of District 6. The strange phenomenon of open land so close to the city is a result of the forced removal and demolition of an entire community during apartheid. For a white in the city, over 60,000 colored people were forcibly relocated to ghettos on the Cape Flats during the 1960s and 1970s. District 6 was one of the few places where people of all races lived together in relative harmony. It was a poor, working-class neighborhood where gangsters met on the famous 7 steps. But by all accounts, it was also a place where some of the greatest jazz was heard in smoky clubs and where great poets, writers and artists felt truly at home.
Ships sailing around Africa to the east. Today, the harbor is used mostly for fishing and tourism, the popular stopover for luxury ocean liners. To the right of the harbor, we can see a large container depot. The Western Cape is a major exporter of fresh fruit and fine wines. Across the bay are the suburbs of Milton and Blobbeckstrand, and further along the bay, just out of sight, is Africa's only nuclear power station, Koeberg. If you look on your right, you should see Devil's Peak. Devil's Peak was originally called the Wind Mountain, due to a legend in which a pirate called Van Hunks unwittingly challenged. This summertime phenomenon is known locally, the tablecloth. In the winter months, the legend continues. Van Hunks disappears into the clouds. There is no tablecloth.
mit dem Geruckel. Schwierig mit dem Geruckel zu filmen.
And over the last 30 years, most of the pine trees on the slopes of Table Mountain have been cut down. These beautiful old stone pines are amongst the few remaining. Invasive alien trees like the Australian Port Jackson, the blue gum and the black wattle have destroyed large sections of the Cape's indigenous vegetation. So a concerted effort is being made by the National Parks Authority, working with the Department of Forestry to rehabilitate our indigenous vegetation, or fynbos as it is called. You will hear more of fynbos later on the tour. The area on your right is a wildlife enclosure, and if you're lucky you might see zebra, eland or wildebeest below the pines. This enclosure began as a private zoo and was once home to the now extinct quagga. The quagga lived in the Karoo and southern Free State and looked like a strange zebra. It was only striped on the front half of its body, with the back half being a creamy light brown color. In 1987, selective breeding with certain zebras was begun to try to bring back the quagga, and more than 60 animals have been bred and distributed to different sites around Cape Town, including the slopes of Table Mountain. So keep your eyes open.
Coming up on our left is Bustour's Mill, a beacon of heritage and craftsmanship. This iconic landmark, 1796, when there were no houses or highways here, just farmland. It stands tall today as Africa's oldest surviving windmill. Its elegant sails whisper tales of the past, grinding grain into flour and fortune. Bustour's Mill stands as a timeless silhouette against the modern skyline. Up the mountain, you can see what looks like a Grecian temple. This is the Cecil John. It commemorates the legacy of the British imperialist and mining magnate, overlooking the city he once sought to dominate. Ambition. Its presence prompts reflection on South Africa's complex past and ongoing quest for reconciliation.
Hidden deep in the foliage on the left-hand side of the road is the mansion Bustour, which means big barn. Although it became home to the Prime Minister of South Africa, that was how it started out, as a barn for the Dutch East India Company. It eventually became a home, changing hands many times before being bought by Rhodes. In his will, he bequeathed it be used as the home of the Prime Minister. Bustour remained as it when the is written by the victors. And that logic has been the legacy of our Dutch and British imperialist past. Here in Cape Town have a myriad of statues commemorating figures from our 300-odd years of history since the arrival of the first Dutch settlers. We had a history before that, a long history which is virtually ignored. But we know very little about those chapters as it was not documented sufficiently. We have a strong oral and storytelling tradition, and our hope is that the younger generation will keep the stories of forgotten heroes and true tales alive. On your right is Newlands Forest. Whether it's jogging, walking, mountain biking, or just picnicking under the pine trees, this is a favorite spot for Cape Townians to visit their beloved mountain. Unfortunately, almost every year during our hot summer months, veld fires rage. The aggressive southeasterly wind fans the flames to reach up to 15 meters. So hidden away near here in the forest is a unique mountain fire station that is staffed by volunteers on standby, as well as 3 helicopters to run water dumps. Putting out fires is a most dangerous operation, with the helicopter pilots maneuvering through treacherous winds, smoke, high trees, and only a mere couple of meters away. Traffic intersections in South Africa's cities are like a marketplace on the move. Hawkers weave between cars and lanes, selling the oddest assortment of things to captive drivers. If the traffic lights are red, a roadside seller will try to sell you a bright beaded gecko, a pink flamingo, a plastic chicken, or a wooden giraffe. Others sell clothes hangers, blow-up plastic toys, refuse bags, and car sunshades. Magazine vendors sell the big issue, the global magazine of the homeless. Some of these mobile salesmen are drawn from dusty villages in the Eastern Cape by dreams of bright lights, education, music, and employment. Others have trekked thousands of kilometers to escape civil wars or flee an economy in free fall.
Notice how green and leafy this part of Cape Town is? That's because double the average. It's all because of the mountain beside us. In summer, the strong southeasterly wind sweeps moist air in from False Bay and blows it to this mountain range. As the air is pushed up the eastern slopes of Table Mountain, it cools and turns into rain. It's called mountain rainfall. Simple, really. The mountain makes the clouds burst. And that is one of the key reasons the world-famous Eastern Marsh Botanical Gardens are located here.
There is a natural amphitheatre where all kinds of musical and other events are held on balmy Sunday evenings. People bring their own wine and picnic baskets, while the children frolic on the nearby lawns, and a good time is had by all. The musical events range from classical and ethnic world music to mainstream rock, blues, and pop. Even the Dalai Lama of Tibet once addressed a huge crowd here.